This is the best solve I've ever done in an official Rubik's Cube competition. About a month ago, I competed in the UK Rubik's Cube Championships, and I came 108th. But in the Scube event, I came 4th with an average that places me 9th in the all-time rankings for Scube in the UK. Going into the UK Championships, I had two main goals. One was to make finals in Scube, and the other was to get a sub 4 average also in Scube. Scube round 1 was just after lunch on the Saturday, which means I had plenty of time to warm up. Going into the round, I was doing very well when I was practicing, so I had high hopes for doing well in the round, but I was also pretty nervous. Going into the first solve, I was feeling pretty nervous, and I ended up locking up really badly on the easy scramble. This should have been PR, but it wasn't, so I was pretty annoyed. I ended up being a +2 as well, but I was more just annoyed at the bad time. Such shit. The next solve was the worst scramble of the round, but I managed to have pretty good turning and got a 408, which was an okay turn for me.
Okay, that was not...
Third solve was a pretty easy scramble with a 4-move layer into an easy NS out, but I had terrible turning and only got a 3.93, which when I should have really got PR.
How is that?
After these first 3 solves, I was pretty annoyed with how the average was going, and decided to just really focus on my turning for the last 2 solves, because I knew there wasn't really any pressure for getting into the next round, and that I could do much better if I just solved like I did at home, so I just tried to make sure I had good, fast and accurate turning. This strategy paid off, because on my 4th solve I managed to get a 349 PR single on fairly average scramble.
PR single, let's go.
Going into the last solve of round 1, I again focused on just smooth turning and not locking up, and this gave me a 346 PR single, which secured my sub 4 average with a 383 average, which is ranked 9th in the UK.
Oh, come on now, my...
This average actually placed me 6th in the round and 3rd UK person. This gave me a lot of confidence going into the second round, as I knew if I didn't mess up I would easily make finals. But this is Scube we're talking about. Scube is super easy to mess up, as the turning is pretty weird. It's very easy to drop a cube +2 or even D in there. So I knew I had to really focus in the second round to make sure I made my way into finals. The second round was at the end of the day, and as I was warming up I was getting a lot of really good times, averaging sub 4 for most of the solves. This helped with my nerves a lot, as I was fairly confident that any sub 5 average would make finals, which gave me about a second of leeway, so I knew that even if I messed up a little bit I'd probably still be alright, but still I knew it was going to be tough. I started with a 364 and a 4 sledge last layer, which had really good turning. Then in the second solve I got a 404 with quite slow turning but no lockups, which was solid counting time for a sub 5 average. Third solve, I got an okay layer to a 1-move setup to U-perm, but I did the setup wrong, which caused a large pause, and I only got a 537. This was a disappointing time, but I knew it was an average ruining. The 4th solve had no obvious layers, so I just decided to go with something that was pretty inefficient but easy to finger trick, and this resulted in a 3 sledge case, and I got a 396. I knew this solve I had secured a sub 5 average and with it my way into finals, and I was super happy with it. For the last solve I wasn't really that nervous, as I knew I was in finals, but the scram was really bad and I ended up getting a terrible last layer case, so I only managed to get a 509 because I locked up a bit on the last layer. Oh well. This gave me an average of 4.36, which placed me 7th in the round and 4th UK competitor, so I was 7th seed for finals. I had achieved both my goals for the comp already with my sub 4 average in the first round and now this average making finals, so I was really happy already. Round 2 of Scube had been my last event for the day, and I had to wait for the Sunday for finals. Now, I knew it was important that I was well prepared for finals the next day, as it was my best opportunity ever at getting a result at major championships. So naturally, I went out drinking at Wetherspoons. Going into finals, I didn't really set myself any goals other than just to do the best with whatever scrambles I was given. I knew that I could potentially do well, but there were better scubers than me, with Fabio, George Scully and Harry Savage all having sub 3 official averages and consistently beating me at basically every comp. I did know that if I managed to get a sub 4 average I would have a shot of a podium, but I also knew that this was unlikely as it was a major final and I didn't want to put too much pressure on myself. For finals, my GoPro wasn't working, so the footage isn't quite as good, but luckily because of Daniel Evans and Jake Brown, it was still filmed, so huge thanks to those guys. I'm going to reconstruct every solve after I show it and just talk about how it went. So solve 1 of finals was pretty simple. I got a 3.65. First thing I saw here green has 2 corners connected, so I looked at it and saw that there's a very simple 2-move layer. So I basically just immediately started when I saw that, because I find generally in comp, once I find a good solution, I should just go with it, and then that avoids me getting nervous or worrying about the inspection time. And that works well for me, so I did that, and then that gives a hedge, sledge, last layer. So that was like, okay, not the best turning, but I was pretty happy with it as an opening solve.
I'm not gonna let it.
I'm probably going to be down.
Yeah, and now that it's there, nice.
So for this second solve, there are a few more different options in terms of layers. It wasn't as obvious like with the first 2-move one, but I ended up going for this white layer. So because you can just insert those 2 in 2 moves, and then you've got a simple 4-move insert. And then this gave a sledge hedge H-perm skip case, which I executed like this. And that was a 3.19, which was my PR single at the time. So I was extremely happy with that. And yeah, good. First 2 solves, the average were very good. So for this one, the first thing I saw was this yellow block, and then these are 2 corners can be solved in 4 moves, like that, but I actually executed it as this because I prefer those finger tricks. This then gives a 2 sledge last layer, but I locked up pretty badly while doing it and ended up getting a 3.8, which is pretty bad. This was very easily sub-3able. And probably cost me the podium. So disappointed with this solve, but still a sub 4, another good time.
Yes.
The 4th solve was a 4.12 and was actually the worst solve of the average, or worst time of the average, but it was actually a very nice solve. So the scramble wasn't as good, and first thing I saw was this white block, and I checked the layer, but it's the only way to do it is either in 5 or 6 moves, which isn't the best. So I then looked at elsewhere. I looked at yellow and realised there's actually a 4-move layer you can do. If you put this corner in and then this corner, and then it sets up, and then each corner basically sets up the next. So that's a 4-move layer, but then it gives this advanced case, which isn't that great. The way I do it is I just do a double sledge, which I did regripless, and then a U-bow. So this had good TPS, good execution, and I was really happy with it because it secured me a sub 4 average, which was amazing, but obviously not the best scramble, so worst time.
Yes, Harry.
So this final solve is the best solve I've ever done in comp, 2.64 PR single. I was extremely happy with it, especially getting on the last solve for finals, and also obviously secured me my PR average. And the way I did it was obviously I saw this first, and that this corner can be inserted in 1 block, or in this move, and it also serves the center, and then just do an insert. So I was like, okay, that's fairly obvious. and just did that, and then it gives a H-turn skip, which I executed like that, and no lockups, 2.64. So at the time I was very happy with that, and that's 13 moves, almost 5 TPS. I think it was I think 13 moves, 5 TPS or so. But I've since found out that there's a alternative way of doing this, and this is a findable first layer, where basically you solve the first layer by first moving this corner out the way down here, and then that sets up for an insert like this, and then that leaves you with just a sledge, which I probably, and if I had done that, I would have probably got a sub 2 single on that solve. Which would have been really cool, and I'm very annoyed I missed it. And by the way, I'd probably execute that like this if I had done that, but I was not gonna look for a weird layer solution like that in finals when I knew I had a lot on the line. I just saw the simple layer and I went for it, and overall I'm extremely happy with this average. It's definitely my greatest cubing achievement, managing to get not only 4th in the finals, but top 10 in the UK. I actually thought I had a decent shot at a podium when I finished this average. When I got the 2.64 and I knew I had like a mid-3 average, I was like, this could maybe podium, because it would have podiumed in the previous couple rounds. But I also knew they were very nice scrambles, and that obviously there are a lot of good scubas. So not really surprised that it didn't, but I am a bit disappointed, especially with the lockups on the 3rd solve, and also the missing the 8 mover on the last one. But still, incredible performance. I'm so happy with this. Genuinely, like, it was such a great round for me, and yeah. So congratulations to George Scully, Fabio and Harry Savage for their podiums, and yeah, next year sub 3, I'm gonna win.